Lisa, are we ready?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Welcome of guests and public comments. Anybody? Got any guests that want to have anything to say?
Board Patrol's here.
Board Patrol's here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there it is.
All right.
Guys, any comments?
No, sir.
Bureau Reclamation, Larry Vasquez,
Hi, Larry.
Council Office.
All right, great. Anybody? Okay. Next is the minutes. We have two sets of minutes, one on October 12th and one on October 31st. We have one little correction already taken place, and just a little typo on the minutes of October 31st. Sharon's already handed that out. Mike, you got your minutes too, right?
Yes, sir. I got
Okay.
everything.
Anybody see anything on either one of those?
All right, we're looking at the one on November 9th and which other one?
October 12th.
No, October 12th and October 31. It's under tab 3.
Okay. Okay, I
October,
got it.
yeah, go ahead.
Good.
Okay. Either one of those sets of minutes, anybody? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes as mailed. Right?
Move to approve, Art.
Mike made the motion.
Second.
Larry seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, very good. Report and recommendation by Lisa, it says none here. Where are you? Okay. All right, Mary's turn. Aha. You have the floor, Mary.
We have both the September and October reports. If you like, we can just go to the October, unless you have questions, we can go over the $500 report for September, and then move on to the October. The October reports generally summarize each month.
Okay, I
And we
think
have
I'm
our
good
year
with that. Are
to-
y'all all right with, we'll skip over the financial stuff, but let's go over the 500 if anybody wants to on
For September.
September. Then we'll go to the, look at the financials more in detail in October. $500 report in September. Any questions?
Item number 1, is that what project is that?
Al?
That's Al.
A.W. Blair Engineering, U.S. Boundary.
That's the grant, design grant from Reclamation to line the Union East from Wasteway 32 to the heading the Canyon Teal lateral.
Okay, is that completed now as far as the engineering is concerned, or is that one installment?
No, there's only one billing for that, and that's the only billing for it.
And we're reimbursed for,
We're reimbursed 50%.
is that 50%?
Okay.
50%, okay. George, Larry?
On that, number 15, what are we getting charged, Al, for, we're going by cubic yard or what?
You know, Pete,
It's per hour on there?
Per hour?
It's per hour, $55 an hour?
$55 an hour?
Yes, sir.
They're moving it to where we need it, right? That's all.
Right, yeah, what they're doing is they're pulling sand and covering some pits that we're doing, and then pulling that dirt to the ponds and to the Riverside project.
Also, it's really close.
Yes, yeah, it's within, I guess, a mile max. Probably
Are
even
they
less.
just providing the trucks or what?
That's all they're doing is providing the trucks.
We have the loaders and.
We're loading and we're loading with materials.
As their drivers, right?
It's their drivers, yes.
I already have a question on items 15 through, back to that, 15 through 19. This is an engineer question from the county side. Is that, we have a budget for that, I'm assuming. I think we approved that maybe last year. And are we on track now on as far as cost? As far as under county, or where are we at in the grand scheme of things regarding the specifics for that allotment of money that we set aside to get those acreage up and at least up and going to where we needed to go? Have it?
So yeah, there was a budget item, and Mary can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe about $400,000 was budgeted for Pete. Pete's probably more for there. It was, Mr. Reyes wanted to proceed ahead with that directly, so we were trying to expedite that, and so I wasn't involved in some of the procurement issues, but I have been involved. Pete's been calling me, and Pete and I have been discussing the design issues only, but not the procurement issues.
Okay, so for that, I'm going to ask Art that, or Al, that once you get all the numbers together, that we get a copy of what's been spent and where we're at and what the plan is for this particular little project that we have going.
Sure. I know that we could talk more about that when Pete makes his presentation. He'll show you some of the work they're doing, and I can talk about the design issues under my section.
Okay. Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Anything else on that September? I guess we ought to include the credit card report also. If not, why don't we go to the next month, Mary?
We have our monthly investment report. There is no changes at this time. Our next renewal of a certificate of deposit will be in February of the 15th.
Okay.
And our rates for our general accounts have gone up to 0.76%.
Okay.
Are we looking into the T-bill still?
Yes, we do have two at this time.
And what's the rate on that?
The rates are between 3% and 4%. I did not check this morning, but I can get back with you in regards to the rate.
So in February and March, we'll have a
Chance to, if it's at a good rate.
Mary, this is also the quarterly, right?
Yes, we do have a quarterly. There is a slight adjustment in regards to the general
Tab
funds.
D, tab D there, guys, 5D. Okay?
Correct.
Certainly.
Just the interest rates need to be corrected. As of September, the rates should be at 0.58% for the general checking account and the two money market accounts.
And it shows 5.5, so it should be 5.8.
It should be 5.8.
Okay. Everything else is okay?
Yes.
All right, with those changes, anybody want to approve this quarterly investment report? Make a motion that we accept it.
I move to accept the quarterly report.
George made the motion, Larry seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed, same sign. Okay, approved, Mary. Okay, now let's go back to tab, the balance sheet. It's under tab A. Mary, anything you want to point out or talk about? I guess the net revenue also.
Yes, the net revenue. On our receivables, we have received all our pending, outstanding account receivable invoices, so all payments have been received and adjusted.
And that would apply specifically to what lines are we looking at?
Well, you don't see it there, because there's no, there's not a balance at this time as of October 31st, so that would be the account 11,600.
Okay, so we've gotten all the money.
Yes.
Okay.
Our next report is the net revenue,
Okay.
and this was the end of our fiscal, October 31st, 2022. For our revenues, we met and exceeded above 38% of our expected budgeted revenue of 7.4 million.
Woo-hoo. Yeah, see that. Real property income, line 4214 and
And
4216.
our use fees as well were a significant increase.
Yeah. You guys see that we made, now that line 4214, real property income, is that a one-time deal? Or is
Yes,
that
that was a one-time deal.
and it was from mainly?
I believe it was the Franklin drain. Al, is that
Yeah,
correct?
that's correct.
Correct.
So on the 4216, oh, actually, I think it's 218, right?
The annual license.
40218, annual license fee,
Yeah.
that's where the drain maintenance program is?
Yes, it's a 40218, which would be the lease, and 40252 would be the maintenance.
Yeah, so the lease, we've been in negotiation for 14 months. And they hadn't agreed upon a lease rate.
Okay.
And, but I talked to John Baloo yesterday, and we feel that we can get that issue resolved within the next few days, hopefully, or the next week. It's just a matter of getting the right people to be able to meet with Mary and me and Lisa. That, we estimate that number to be in the 600,000 range. And that's why you're seeing about right, and actually 530 is a shortage.
Just a shortfall.
We'll consult with the auditor, I guess, about whether we can do an accrual basis on that payment, because it really would be a payment should have been made in last fiscal, not this fiscal. But,
Yeah, I remember how those go sometimes.
yeah, it's just, so we'll see whatever they say. If it ends up in this fiscal, then you'll see twice as much for 1 year and zero in the other, but it would be, I think Mary and I both would prefer if they'll let us do the journal entry and attribute it, even though we're receiving the check. We would in this particular, I know you guys want us to be as close to a cash basis as we can, but in this one income item, we'd like to accrue back to when it was earned. But we'll keep you posted on that for me.
Okay, and the money posted as revenue on the 4,400 for special capital projects. Are those reimbursable stuff that we've gotten, or?
The majority were the approved contracts
Okay,
that we have with the Bureau of Reclamation.
okay.
We didn't budget enough money.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good
That's a
thing.
good thing on that side of it.
On that side of it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the other.
We'll get
There is a timing issue when the quarterly reports are issued and when the funds are withdrawn.
Okay.
So that could have been me.
I remember, yeah. Okay, on the expense side, well, even looking at the bottom line, it appears
We
We
exceeded our
deleted-
budget by
we spent about-
17%.
yeah, $2 million, right?
Correct.
Okay. And one of the biggest ones would be, as you all see, that total direct expense from the capital project.
Correct, that was the majority of our,
Yeah, that was the majority of our, where the overage is, for a lot of it.
Mary, how was that covered on the capital project equipment?
excuse me, can you repeat that?
How is that being covered on the shortfall for the expenses on the 5,003 and 504 and 505?
Well, in regards to the projects, it's just an estimated proposed budget that we estimate we're gonna spend. But usually, we tend to be off on those numbers. We don't have a set amount. It's just an estimate.
Are we allowed to put money into it during the fiscal year, or is it gonna stay zero as far as budget is concerned?
I'm not understanding in regards to.
In other words, as you're tracking this cost, will this budget always remain blank? Or will you transfer funds from some other account where we have to cover this cost? That seems to be, will be growing, I'm assuming.
Well, I think for whatever reason, Mike, we did not take away funds and attribute them to that budget side. But yes, that could be done. Not sure why we didn't get it done right now, but we do make budget amendments during the year, if I remember correctly. And we
Correct,
just,
and we just didn't.
we just didn't do that on
do
this
year.
particular line item.
Okay, but so it can be done, I'm assuming, the amendments.
Yes, it can.
Okay.
Barry, George, Mike, anything else?
Our fiscal year ends in September, is that correct, Art?
October 31st.
October 31.
Okay. So we got, basically, September is only, we got one more month to go, so, okay.
No, you're looking at the end of the year, that October net revenue page under tab A. You're looking at, that's the end of the year.
Okay.
So that effectively became a budget amendment when you approved October.
Right.
It was the last one, so that's the
Yeah.
final budget. whether we
Yeah,
get
that's
or
it.
not.
You're looking at the final end of the year stuff. Okay.
The following report is the 500.
500? Okay.
How come some of the ones from Korea are reimbursable and some of them aren't? Number 26 and 27,
The Riverside project is funded by,
oh, it's different than the Socorro Ponds?
yes,
Okay,
the
gotcha.
Dakota Ponds is in-house.
Okay.
So we're using that company on both things, yeah. I have a question on page 2, just because I don't know what that is, I'm trying to measure. 37, a depth tank header assembly, what in the heck? Is that just a little side tank on the boom, Pete?
Let me find out for sure, Art. In fact, I had my shop supervisor here, I just let him go.
Oh, did you? Okay, I'm just curious what the heck that is.
I'll get you an answer real quick.
Probably just a tank, fancy word for a tank.
Yeah, with diesel.
Because look at that, $1,200.
Might be the injectors.
It's on the boom mower.
Yeah, it's on the boom mower.
Yeah,
And it's a depth, but I don't know if it's an actual tank.
okay. I think that's fancy for a tank. Pretty expensive tank, but
Well,
even steel's up.
I just got the header and the piping and they even have a motor.
An injector or something?
Injector.
Yeah, they got other stuff, I just replaced one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
You got one of those tractors?
Well, I mean,
You just gotta bring the
He's
depth
got
up.
a new tractor, I haven't bought
And
him
it
because of
plugs
that.
into the computer too, so
yeah, it's expensive as hell.
Okay, it's a fuel pump that goes inside the
Yeah.
Okay,
depth load.
okay. But it's only for the depth, that's,
Sorry?
it's only for the depth.
It's
Part
only,
of the
it's only for the depth, right?
Yeah, depth's injected.
Yes.
It's injected
Yeah,
with the
right,
diesel,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's injected at the pressurized point too.
Yeah.
It's like a carbureted flow.
I don't know what those give you trouble.
Okay, and way down there,
It turns your machine off.
way down there on 58,
Unplug your computer, that helps.
way down on 58, it's Bobby's favorite Peterbilt. Is that a new block we put in there, or is that a rebuild, or
Yeah, it's a long blocker,
is it a
Art?
long block?
Yes.
Okay. Is it new?
Yes,
For that price, I hope it's new.
yes.
Okay. Wow.
That was just the block fee?
Yes, just a long block. And actually, it was gonna cost us more to try to get the old one overhauled than it
Really?
would have cost to just replace it.
Wow. I thought those things ran 1,000,000 miles.
Well, when you spin a bearing,
Oh, okay, well, never mind. Yeah. Came back from Austin, I think I got cedar.
Shit, it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad, I mean, yeah. Okay. Anything else on the 500?
All I is our credit card report. And it consisted of several events. With our employee appreciation.
I see Lisa's there. yeah.
Yes.
I have a question, Art,
Sure,
for Mary.
sure.
On the general balance on the investment side to October, we're carrying almost $6 million number. Is there a reason why we're carrying such a big number, or is that, what's our policy on that?
You're back to the investment report?
Yeah, I meant to go back to
All
the
right.
October investment report. I meant to ask that, sorry, Art.
That's okay.
Just a question, only because it seems like a large number, we never, at least I don't think we've carried such a big number, but we are now. Maybe I'm wrong.
We've gone as far as carrying about 18 million in investment accounts. The 5.7 that you see with Westar is just the 2 certificate of deposits that we have with Westar. The other 2 investments, which is our treasury bills, are invested with SLNG, which is 6 million. So the 6
Okay,
million
I'm
and the
sorry,
5 million.
I'm sorry. You're right. Okay, I was thinking Westar with the general fund, I was not paying attention. Sorry. I get it now. Westar, that's what's encumbered on the, what we call, what is all that? That's a tally of all the pledged amounts?
Right.
To
Correct.
cover up the investment, okay.
Right.
Okay, I got you. Thank you.
It's what they're putting up as collateral to back our CDs. It's what the bank puts up.
Gotcha.
Lisa, you want to explain yourself? Just kidding. I assume that was our big shindig, was it? Okay. Next page. Holy moly. Looks like Blair Engineering forgot October. Go to Kim Smith. Mondrall Sperling forgot September and October. Thank you guys very much.
Early Christmas, is
I was
that what you're
just
saying?
saying, it's not Christmas yet.
Okay. All right. That's the one where Johnny says, what does he say? Look at it and weep or? Okay,
Notice we don't provide a master total, do we?
that's all right. We know what it
Take
is.
you guys out, those up.
Okay, Mary, I think, any other questions for Mary? Anybody? Go back to the financial report, wherever you want to go. Anybody? Okay, Mary, you're off. Thank you. Rose?
do
We have one other item.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Okay,
By me.
good. Oh,
Alan,
summary of current, okay.
Alan and I have been working on this spreadsheet, and, you know, we still have to go through each contract that's still pending or has been awarded and see what's the status on each individual grant approval.
Okay,
And Alan's gonna
so give us an update,
display, correct.
or at least where you're at,
I'm trying to.
where you're at today. This may not be the end of it, right?
Correct.
She usually it's been, got rearranged a little bit here. Let me just put her up on the screen. I won't be able to share it so y'all won't see it, but let me try. Okay, we're there. Now let me try sharing. Now the menu to share disappeared. I guess got reconfigured. There we go. You see that, Miguel?
Yes, sir, thank you.
I don't know how to make it bigger. Try view. Full page. Well, we'll just leave it, I don't know, hopefully you guys can see it, but I can't see it very well from here, that's for sure. I don't know if you
It's
guys.
like, it's almost like the focus is off.
Yeah, something's changed, but redo that. Even the menus have changed. I guess somebody else used a computer while we're, some other project.
There you go. That's it.
You just,
And the large option.
Oh, where was it?
Yeah, right? No, one more. See where, no.
Oh, it's light gray.
No, next one, that
there
one.
you go, that one.
Down to large now. I didn't know.
Now, where is,
Got worse, yeah, I think it did. Let me just magnify
Put it on
a little
small,
bit.
maybe it'll get bigger.
Yeah, no, we'll do it. Oh, yeah, right here. Let's see if that works. A little bit
That's a
better.
little better.
Still not very good. I can see it over here on the other. on the
It's
bigger
just like a
screen.
focus problem.
The projector's a little bit better. They probably can see it on there. I'm gonna zoom in better than we can. So Mary and I worked on this. It's still a work in process. These are the, not all the active grants. And looks like what is proposals that have been submitted. These ones that don't have any dollar values over here in this column of the district amount is we're still researching the status of those. But it appears that all the ones that I do have dollar amounts, except for this one with a question mark, was still questioning that. We have been agreed to, or the general managers sent notice to the reclamation or water developers saying that they agreed to the terms of the grant. So we're effectively, have already issued account numbers, and I think we're trying to see what contracts were actually signed or how the agreements went in. But these, I know there's I guess, I feel like there's at least some of them we know clearly have been awarded and agreed to be, and we're actually operating under them. Other ones, we haven't spent any money, right? Like the telemetry one down here, we haven't spent a dollar, right? So, some we've incurred to expense, some can't, but the total amount that I think we're obligated to is 4.291 million of our share. And with these other ones, which are larger proposals, they look like they've been submitted, they haven't been awarded, or they haven't even been judged yet, or the evaluation, they're still open for evaluation. I can't advise you on any of those right now, other than we don't have any paperwork showing that we've agreed to those, or those grants have been awarded, or at least we haven't found it yet. That if those were agreed to, our total obligation would be 14. 322,000. So right now, we will bring back to the board anything, but we'll bring all this back so you know you have all the paperwork and all the contracts are on this. So we're working on that for next board meeting, or at least by January. And then anything that Mary hasn't issued an account and we don't have any paperwork on saying that it's been awarded. If it is awarded in the time in between board meetings, we will not accept the award without consulting the board.
Okay.
So it's still a process that we're both, Sharon's helping us too, and I really appreciate it. I know everybody's had a pretty busy schedule just with the routine stuff, and we've taken time out and worked late to try to get to this point. So we're getting there.
All right, to make it a little clearer in my head, so far it appears we are committed to
4.2 is what our best estimate right now. Mary and my best estimate is what we're committed to, and then the rest of it is, it doesn't appear we're committed to, but we may have the opportunity to commit to it if you guys want to.
Okay.
So we'll get all that figured out for you and present it at probably the next two board meetings. We'll take this.
Okay.
Art,
Yes.
now,
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are throwing yourself into this. This is a pretty good task. There's a lot of grants, and they're all different sizes and manners and delivery methods and so forth. One of the things that for my mind, because I'm a very simple-minded individual, I like to take each grant with when, obviously you have the amount, but I'd like to know when it starts, when it's projected to finish, what's the encumbered amount, like your grant ratio, and then the total dollar amount, to tie back to the $4.291 million.
Yeah,
That way, I can see if it's coming in the first, second, third, fourth quarter, or it's going into the following year. Because 4.291 to pay tomorrow, Mary, you need to cut a check for $4.2 million. I don't know if Mary's gonna be able to do that. I'm just being vicious.
So she's already, some of these, you're just right, exactly, Miguel. So each one of these has a detailed history, both in terms of the job from the county and in terms of some of those books you've seen that Omar put together. So for example, if I was to print out a copy of all the documentation and expense reports, purchases and everything else that's already taken place under the 4.2 million, that would be about, I would say, someplace between 18 inches and 24 inches tall. So this sheet that I have here has about 20 more columns in it that I'm not showing you because they won't fit on the screen. It tracks everything that you said, and you're exactly right. Our next phase is doing a prospectus that shows what's already been spent of that 4.2 million, how much we no longer obligate. We met the obligation, and then what we anticipate the distribution from our revenue will be, because we have to show we have the money every year for this. And then the lag between our distribution, Mary, and the reimbursement part, right? So it's a little bit, it's a big cash flow problem, but it needs to be done for exactly the reason Miguel said, that, Mary and I started off with our conversation of basically, hey, we need to do a 5-year prospectus, because we gotta know when these bills are coming due. We gotta know how long it's gonna take for their share of it to get back to us, because then those may go across fiscals, because sometimes it's been relatively fast, but it can be 90 days, right?
Right.
And then in terms of the number, if you look, I know it's very hard to see, I apologize, but there's a grant ratio about the third column from the very end, and that's the funding ratio of what we could put together from the contracts. I'm still researching that a little. You can see that there's a couple of contracts that are pretty low on that ratio. For example, one of these on the feeder is the grant only covered 16% of that. In general, we've targeted trying to have the grants be 50-50. And but you can see that some of them turned out not to be 50-50.
Most of them were presented as 50-50, right?
I haven't researched what they were presented at, but these are the best we can tell what they ended up being agreed to when the grant was agreed to, when the final paperwork came in. We have, Lisa and I have agreed, and you can talk under this one or under Mary's, and Mary supports it, is that there's really three tasks that the board needs to approve on any grant. One is the resolution to prepare the proposal. There's some commitment there, but it's not firm. It's just say we think we want to do this grant. Then there's going to be the offer from the grant agency, which is typically in the form of a contract, and then there'll be the final contract. In other words, let's say they made an offer to reduce our percentage, and we didn't agree to that, or we made some change to it, then they would come, it's like any negotiation, it would come back a third time to you for actually this is the final deal. So first you'd have the proposal to look at, then you would have the offer, and then you'd have the final contract. All three of those need to come before the board, and we will make sure that that's done on any future grant.
I have a comment, suggestion, however we want to call it, but since we're dealing with contracts, and it's before we get ourselves into trouble, for lack of a better word, what kind of review, and I don't want to break the bank, because I know our attorneys are very, very, very inexpensive, but can we have some kind of check review from our attorneys, or is that already happening from the initial contract to the final signature format, that when we as the board are ready to sign off on something, that it's been vetted not only through engineering, through the general manager, but as well as from the contract from the council. That way we have all the bases covered.
Well, I think that's pretty much what Al alluded to, that we need to take those steps, and I think that's what they're in the process of trying to sort out, and it's a good point, Mike, but I think that's exactly what they're talking about.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that's the case, because it needs to be made very crystal clear.
Yeah, I think when we get the final contract, it's obviously going to be a board action, and that would be distributed or even offered if there's an issue, should be distributed for legal for review too.
Yep.
The initial proposal probably not necessary, but once we get to the point where we actually are getting in contractual relationships, it makes sense to me I think all of our contracts have been reviewed pretty much, except the ones that are standardized.
Right.
Like the licenses.
I think so.
And even those are reviewed, I feel.
Okay.
Okey-doke.
Did I get that right, Mary? Okay, so you used it correctly.
All right, well, thanks for y'all doing that. I know that hopefully the next month or two.
Wait,
We'll
Al, on that one, on the first line item, why are there some numbers skipped? Are there some that are, so you got 4, 7, 8, 10, 14?
Those were index numbers of grant applications. Some of them have already been completed and closed out, so I didn't list those.
Okay.
Others were never awarded. We didn't get an award, and so we submitted a proposal, but it was never, we didn't make the grade, so to speak, so we didn't get an award. So all those numbers, you can see, if you look down there, there's a total of 25.
Right.
And there might be some more off the bottom that I excluded. So what I did is I went in and I just picked the ones that I saw that we had proof that, or knowledge that we were under contract, that we were actually active in the grant. Mary had issued numbers. This one with question marks, I'm still trying to revolve.
Okay.
I have some information saying that we're obligated to that, and then Mary and I can't find the rest of it, can we, Mary? So,
To prevent a question like that coming up again, perhaps on the next line item where it says short name, we could have like one, no longer applicable or something like that.
you know, I can give you that. I just hid those for this to fit it on the screen, so
Yeah.
that they're in the sheet. So I give you the whole Excel sheet, and it has every single one of them, so you can see all the information. Remember, this is just a small amount of what is critical for us, just like Miguel said, was our trying to get to the point that you guys understand that we feel that we have 4.2 million already obligated, and that there still is what's the saying, the elephant in the room is the 10 million that is maybe presented to you in future if you wish to become obligated.
And the last question on the agencies, they're all from the Bureau of Reclamation. Remind me what can't read that, D8 or what is it?
Yeah, Texas Water Development Board.
Okay, and those are only related apparently to the Franklin Canal, right?
You know, they're scattered. The USVR is doing work on, Pete knows, it'll show you some, but they're doing Riverside, right?
Right.
And you have the Isla Lateral, and there's been a lot of
Right.
Water Development Board,
Yes.
USVR projects that have overlapped a little bit too.
Yes.
But the Franklin is the one we're getting the least contributions to assist us, right? 16%?
Some of these are just for design work, some of them are for actual construction. I don't, that's in another column that I left off, but yeah, each one's unique, and we have started, that's what Sharon was doing. She's putting together a binder and a folder with all the legal documents and the proposal. Some of this was partially done, Elmer did part of it, we're just finishing it out so that each one stands on its own. So if anybody wants to look at, as a particular project you want to look at the details, I can give you that folder. Like I say, if we were to stack all those folders right now, it would be an enormous amount of paper is in this spreadsheet. So Omar has been very busy for 3 years. And you guys got to see some of that. I think in our May meeting, he showed you what a typical submittal, because we have to submit, right, Mary, we submit everything, receipts, purchase request, POs, the whole, we have to prove compliance across the board of activities, and Omar was taking care of all the compliance issue. I wasn't involved directly, only in the engineering design work. I wasn't previously involved.
Okey-doke. Rose, I think now we got you. Yours one, or both of them. Good morning.
The first item is review the tax report, which is this one right here. It just gives you a listing of all the years. And then we have the elimination of collection of taxes. Once we assess the 22 taxes, we'll be moving the year 2001. I'll bring that to you next month.
Okay.
We have no tax adjustments this month.
That's it.
Our next report is the City of El Paso on behalf of Public Service Board, the Lower Valley Water District assignments, the both assignments, excuse me. Then we have taxes. Do you have any questions on this report?
Not I.
Our next here's our comparison between tax year 2020 and 2021. November of 2021, we were at 96.7021%. We are now at 97.4497%.
Wow.
Any questions on this report?
No, I s- except that you're ahead again, you're staying ahead, that's good.
We're doing good, we're all doing good. Our next item is certifying the 2022 tax roll. We have tax roll here for inspection, we would like to view it. The tax roll consists of accounting service charge, exempt water allotment, exempt water non-allotment, tax assessment, the water delivery charge allotment, the water delivery charge non-allotment, and that's a total assessment and charges of $2,962,812.15. And I'm asking for the board approval.
All right, and this, is this what we sent to TCEQ, or where's this go?
No, sir, this is,
Just,
In-house,
the
yes.
in-house record?
yes, sir.
Okay. All right, do I hear a motion to approve that